Here is the Burj Khalifa in the United Arab Emirates, the tallest building in the world, standing at 828 meters, and considered the most daring of our time. However, Brazil has ideal conditions to build something even more futuristic. The Oscar Niemeyer Ecological Citadel, with 7 towers, the tallest reaching 1,400 meters, making it the highest on the planet. 5 others at 950 meters, and 1 at 900 meters, with the last one offering helipads for 4 helicopters. We have already chosen the most suitable location for the construction of the first Brazilian ecological citadel. It is located in Ubatuba, a municipality in São Paulo, in the paradisiacal hills and Puruba Beach, flanked by the Puruba and Quiririm rivers, which flow together into the Atlantic Ocean. The 8th wonder of the world, the conception of the Oscar Niemeyer Ecological Citadel, represents an advanced and original environmental protection project, which aims to use all the cutting-edge science and technology of our century in a sustainable and rational way for the benefit of humanity. Seen this way, it aims to provide a healthier and more pleasant life by putting you in contact with nature, breathing the pure air of the heights, and it can be said literally, closer to the sky. And as if that were not enough, enjoying the most beautiful views of spectacular panoramas from high above, captivating cities sprawling as far as the eye can see, reaching the distant horizon. It is the unique opportunity to enjoy the unusual pleasure of living in comfortable apartments, as well as having easy and immediate access to an innumerable network of establishments, such as countless diverse stores, shopping centers, gyms, universities, restaurants, nightclubs, theaters, offices, churches, clinics, hospitals, hair salons, barber shops, night spots, amusement parks, museums, public offices, astronomical observatory. In addition to offering the public the largest aquarium in the world and so on, in the green belt surrounding the Citadel, there will be amphitheaters, theme parks, dozens of excellent playgrounds, multi-purpose courts, and extreme sports tracks, encouraging athletes of all ages inspired by the ideal Greek mens sana in corpore sano. Add another original advantage: the use of motor vehicles, notorious environmental pollutants, will be completely unnecessary, as anyone can easily walk from any point in the Citadel, composed of 7 magnificent towers, the largest in the world, to another part of the same, no matter where it is located, as long as it is of interest or convenience. For this purpose, there is an elaborate access system, enabling easy individual movement for its more than 200,000 inhabitants in various areas. Ironically, the fact of completely dispensing with the use of any motor vehicles in its premises, whether residential or commercial, does not mean that the Citadel does not value its enormous 4-level garages, capable of accommodating thousands of cars. Such necessity simply arises from a reality that cannot be avoided. The other cities or neighborhoods are old and outdated models, where the use of cars is normal, and even for those who work and live within the Citadel, the desire to go to other places, for leisure or work, cannot be denied. There will even be a beautiful marina. This exceptional housing system includes 54 beautiful walkways, connecting the main tower to 6 smaller ones, plus 54 walkways between the smaller ones themselves, in addition to countless moving walkways, escalators, traditional stairs, and elevators available everywhere. In this way, speeding up the pleasant individual movement inside the largest housing complex on our planet, pay attention to the important detail: 120 elevators. A panoramic peripheral with secure glass walls out of a total of 474, allowing users to enjoy the impressive views of the surrounding landscape. Ácido. Until the present moment, cities have been growing by expanding horizontally, with only a certain concentration of tall buildings in commercial centers due to local real estate appreciation. This phenomenon, although natural, presents great inconveniences. It requires very expensive sewage networks in large cities, and often, as in the cities of Belém do Pará and Manaus, Amazonas, they are non-existent. So, in an absolutely incorrect manner, the external rainwater network, intended only for rain, is used clandestinely, but it ends up carrying dirty water from human waste, from houses and buildings, to the local channels. And finally, it discharges them into already compromised rivers, increasing the alarming pollution levels and putting the population's health at risk. In the case of Manaus, the beautiful Rio Negro that bathes the city receives all the polluted water described, and, incredibly to anyone with the slightest common sense, from this famous tributary of the Amazon River, the drinking water to be served to the population is taken, although with prior treatment. Even though some supposedly advanced cities have a modern sewage system, in the end, the enormous volumes of contaminated water are dumped into large rivers or oceans without full and proper treatment, as this is very costly for public funds. The city of Rio de Janeiro is a sad example of this last alternative, as it discharges the contaminated sewage directly into Guanabara Bay, resulting in its most famous beaches being polluted and bathers being unable to enjoy a healthy swim in the sea. Including, there is an irresponsible and even criminal aggression against the ocean ecosystem, with serious environmental consequences endangering the survival of valuable species. Let's look at a more lamentable example of this disastrous environmental misconduct, the famous Rodrigo de Freitas Lagoon, which so enchanted past generations. A gift from Mother Nature, the marvelous city now appears dark, and with its waters sadly gloomy, attesting to the ingratitude and insensitivity of man towards his Creator. Observing it from the top of Christ the Redeemer, the once beautiful blue lagoon is now reduced to a mud puddle, with its essential riparian vegetation long destroyed. It is a shocking scene for the sensitive human and nature lover. Homo sapiens has the duty to live harmoniously with Mother Nature, protecting her with the care of a grateful child who fears God, as all indispensable natural resources are drawn from her. His survival, although many do not realize it, he himself is also part of this bountiful nature, graciously bestowed by the Creator. The Oscar Niemeyer Ecological Citadel, living up to its name, is an uplifting example of this saving premise, which will ensure the future survival of humanity. About 30 tons per day of human waste will be intelligently utilized, being transformed into various forms of excellent and profitable fertilizers. They will also provide domestic gas and electricity to the Citadel. Surrounding it, an extensive green belt of environmental protection will offer the ideal area for planting vegetables, greens, and fruit trees. Another area designated for the beneficial practice of fish farming and also for raising chickens will be reserved to expand the supply of essential food for its inhabitants. Similarly, favorable conditions will be created for the emergence of welcoming groves and beautiful gardens, with trees and ornamental plants of the most diverse species, cultivated under the guidance of diligent professionals, such as agronomists, forestry engineers, environmental engineers, and biologists, who will care for them with dedication. And there will always be fertilizers in abundance, so that they may develop profusely and make effective the optimistic words of Pero Vaz de Caminha, the scribe of Cabral's fleet, in the letter to the King of Portugal, in Se Plantando Tudo. As a happy complement, a wide bike path will surround this green belt, allowing cyclists of all ages to practice the healthy sport, as well as offering them intimate contact with the exuberant nature. Note that the enormous amount of water used by the users or residents will be fully reused along with food scraps and human waste after biological treatment, as they will be converted into the mentioned fertilizers, domestic gas, and electricity. Water, which is becoming increasingly scarce worldwide, will be used rationally and highly productively in the city. Not a single liter of the precious liquid will be wasted, even after use. As for the problem of the enormous amount of waste, there will be an excellent solution through full and complete recycling. It will all be sorted on each floor and taken to the Citadel's circuit ring, where specialized staff using ingenious gravitational devices will easily guide it to the ground floor. Then, a rigorous classification will be made according to the type of each, such as organics, plastics, various metals, woods, electrical or electronic, papers, glass, clothes, and so on. In areas appropriate for this purpose, it will undergo preliminary recycling treatment and will be in ideal conditions for subsequent industrial completion inside or outside the Citadel. Thus, the disposal of highly polluting and even toxic waste in our urban areas, rivers, seas, and oceans will be avoided. When currently plastic bags, they are killing in a pitiful way fish, amphibians, turtles, and even huge whales. On December 3rd, 2019, a sperm whale died after stranding on the Isle of Harris, Scotland. It had 100 kilograms of trash in its stomach, like plastic bags and fishing nets. On March 18th, 2019, another whale was found in Mabini, off the coast of the Philippines. A biologist says it died of hunger and dehydration. There were 40 kilograms of plastics in its stomach. They were rice sacks, supermarket bags, banana plantation bags, and plastic bags in general. We are turning the depths of the beautiful oceans that wash our shores into a horrible dump and recklessly decimating important marine life species. These are just a few sad examples of what has been happening around the world, where we are shocked by the systematic and responsible degradation of the ecosystem, regardless of how it presents itself, whether on land, at sea, or in the air. Besides contributing to the continuation of such shocking environmental tragedies, the provision of a large number of jobs resulting from recycling activities becomes extremely relevant, particularly in a country with a high unemployment rate. Many seek daily access to the dignity of work, aiming to be useful to society and earn their deserved remuneration, but find themselves frustrated in their attempt. By the way, speaking of green areas, we cannot forget that our ecological Citadel will feature, along the perfection of its 7 towers, up to a height exceeding 100 meters, hanging planters with a depth of 1 meter and kilometers in length. In them, tropical plant species will be planted, the most beautiful and diverse possible, offering those who gaze from the ground the stunning spectacle of the largest hanging garden of the modern era, in addition to helping purify the local atmosphere. We are witnessing an original symbiosis of the world's tallest towers with nature, giving humans the opportunity to coexist in happy harmony. The great King Nebuchadnezzar built the magnificent hanging gardens of Babylon, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, which left the people of that time in awe. Without daring to surpass the superb ruler, we will name them in deserved tribute as the Nabucodonosor Hanging Gardens, for this extraordinary king proved to be a passionate lover of nature, a true primordial ecologist millennia ago. Certainly, the gardens of the Brazilian Citadel will be recognized as the 8th wonder of the modern world. The growth of humanity has been increasing by 1.1% per year, according to United Nations data. The biblical commandment, "Love one another," has not been fulfilled by humanity with the due rigor that would please God. Just observe the constant wars throughout the centuries, eternal bloody struggles that result in millions of deaths and can even endanger their very existence.
We are referring to the probable extinction of the Homo sapiens species in the event of a terrible nuclear holocaust. Ironically, despite considering ourselves rational beings, we are the only species on planet Earth capable of a reckless self-annihilation. However, there is still time for wise reflection and to adopt a fraternal consensus, the only way to safeguard our own existence. In shocking contrast, another famous biblical precept, "Be fruitful and multiply," has been followed with enthusiastic and unstoppable passion over the centuries by loving couples, descendants of our dear primordial grandparents, Adam and Eve. Although such an attitude is commendable in ensuring that the human species prospers, it currently raises a shadow of concern about the future of humanity, as it begins to become aware of facing an apparently uncertain destiny. Scientific advances in medicine and the gradual improvement in quality of life have ensured rising birth rates, which contribute to the increase in the world population. Will our planet be able to provide a good shelter for so many people? For it keeps increasing. In the year of Christ's birth, year 1 of the Christian era, it is estimated that the world population was 170 million. In 1950, we faced 2.5 billion inhabitants. After 1960, there was an increase of 1 billion inhabitants every 13 years. Currently, it is 7.8 billion. The predictions are that in 2030, it will reach 8.5 billion. In 2050, it will rise to 9.7 billion. In 2100, it will go to 11 billion. In 2200, we will already be at 22 billion, and it will reach 44 billion. In 2300, an alarming exponential growth. It is impossible to predict what the numbers will be 500 or 1,000 years from now. Certainly, they will be stratospheric. Where are we going to put so many people? Planet Earth seems to be shrinking in size in the face of uncontrollable human proliferation. As a result of this crucial problem, the design of cities will have to adjust to the irrepressible overpopulation of the human race. Such a phenomenon, when it occurs in nature, is called natural evolution, to ensure the survival of the species. The Oscar Niemeyer Ecological Citadel represents the beginning of a compatible and rational solution to the problems that are emerging disturbingly today and will continue to worsen in the future. Housing expansion can no longer be directed only horizontally, voraciously occupying all available spaces and forgetting to maintain the necessary green areas for environmental preservation, where all plant and animal species enjoy the natural right to protected survival, since it is man's primary responsibility. The Citadel, although it occupies an area less than 1 square kilometer, it is capable of housing more than 100,000 inhabitants, offering comfort and a high level of quality of life, without pollution and with maximum use of modern technology for its own benefit. Solar panels in certain areas of the towers and wind turbines will make it independent from external electric power. See, this is the goal of our Citadel, to be fully sustainable. A modern Eden, closer to heaven and pleasing our Creator, who will watch us walking the right path, as it fosters a universal fellowship with ecological citadels spreading around the world. Certainly, it could be built in other cities, like São Paulo, which has more than 12 million inhabitants and lacks beaches or international-level tourist attractions. It would alleviate the chronic problem of super-congested traffic in Brazil's largest metropolis. Its subsequent expansion with other towers would provide a significant reduction in atmospheric population, growing in the city founded by Father Anchieta, in addition to offering the people of São Paulo 7 or more infinity-style pools of kilometer-long extensions, located almost at the top of the towers. By definition, famous tourist spots will accommodate many knowledgeable people in extremely limited areas. A huge number of people will live in them, enjoying a high level and excellent security, which, by the way, do not exist in conventional cities. Screens will be everywhere, and by simply pressing an emergency button on the walls, guards will immediately appear to promptly ensure the protection of people in a supposed physical risk. Let's now look at an explanation about the reasons for choosing the names of the towers and the citadel itself. Ecological Citadel, Oscar Niemeyer. Our late Niemeyer is the author of a series of wonderful projects, true masterpieces of modern architecture. Just mention the Church of Pampulha in Belo Horizonte, the beautiful palaces and monumental Cathedral of Brasilia, the art museums, Eduardo Gomes Airport in Manaus, Sambadrome, United Nations Building and National Hotel in Rio de Janeiro, among many others. Niemeyer followed the school of the famous architect Le Corbusier. I believe that the great French master was proud of his brilliant disciple, even though he surpassed him in the significance of his works. 1. Torres Santos Dumont, our brilliant inventor of the airplane, won the Paris Prize on the 12th of November 1906 by flying for the first time with the 14 Beasts, a heavier-than aircraft. It took off without the help of the wind, with a 50-horsepower engine, flew 220 meters, at a height of 6 meters, and landed in the presence of 30,000 people and members of the French Aero Club Commission. Before that, he designed, built, and flew the first dirigible balloons, with a gasoline engine. On October 19, 1901, he won the Douin Prize, awarded by the Aero Club of Paris, recognizing him as the first to achieve such a feat. Winning the coveted prize of 100,000 francs, he donated part of the reward to his team and allocated another part to charity. The model of his next airplane, called Demoiselle, which means young lady in French, evolved into a light, refined, and very elegant design that soared through the skies with surprising beauty. Santos Dumont did not patent it, as he considered his inventions a heritage of humanity. Fortunately, the Demoiselle contributed to the progress of aviation worldwide, as many pioneers in various countries copied it, and, based on it, numerous others were manufactured, increasingly improved. For such memorable achievements, he is considered the father of aviation. Santos Dumont cannot be dissociated from the creator of Embraer, Osiris Silva, both passionate spirits of aviation. Osiris, an aeronautical engineer of undeniable talent and excellent business acumen, was certainly inspired by the success of his brilliant mentor, as he continued the Brazilian historical tradition of pioneering achievements in aviation, creating with resounding success a genuinely Brazilian aeronautical industry. The title of Alberto Santos Dumont is contested by other aviators around the world, among them the American Wright brothers, but their flights were carried out, according to themselves, without the presence of witnesses, beyond any doubt. 2. Thor J.K., our late President Juscelino Kubitschek, who governed Brazil between 1956 and 1961, was truly a worthy and deserving gift for the high office of head of the nation, due to his unparalleled competence. The result of incredible creativity, enormous dynamism, and unquestionable honesty in projects. In fact, no other leader has been seen in the Brazilian political landscape who matched him. It is unfortunate, but it is the plain truth. From the start, as governor of Minas Gerais, he created the electric power plants of Minas Gerais and built 5 plants, increasing the state's electric potential 30-fold. As president of the country, he inaugurated a new era of unprecedented development. He built Brasilia, integrating the Central Plateau, which until then was abandoned as if it were an isolated island, with the rest of the country. This was still practically limited to the coast, without fully utilizing the reaches of the vast territory located in its geographical center. With the completion of new roads, allowing the connection of the new capital to other states, a welcome possibility of progress was inaugurated, giving rise to a growing agriculture and livestock industry, which continues to prosper to this day. And besides the construction of hydroelectric plants, it also greatly stimulated the automotive industry, both the so-called national and the genuinely Brazilian. 3. Thor Nicholas Tesla. This scientist was an incredible inventor, a serious electrical and mechanical engineer, best known for his contributions to the modern supply of alternating current electricity, adopted worldwide today. He was born on July 10, 1856, in Croatia, and died on the 7th of In January of 1943, he is considered the most wronged scientific genius in history. His inventions were focused on the use of electricity and magnetism, among them the fluorescent lamp, induction motor used in industry, remote control, the Tesla coil, radio transmission, ignition system used in car starters, etc. When he died impoverished in a hotel in New York at 86 years old, the American Federal Police seized all of Tesla's scientific documents for study and research later, but there were no scientists able to extract relevant benefit of the projects of a genius centuries ahead of his time, to honor the genius inventor by giving his name to one of the towers of the Citadel. A grateful posterity is recognizing his immeasurable scientific contribution to humanity. 4. Giordano Bruno Towers. He was the most wronged philosopher in the history of humanity. Due to his tragic end in Rome during the so-called Merciless Inquisition in 1600, he is considered a Stoic martyr of science. In the field of FOA, where he died at 52 years old, he has been deservedly remembered since 1899 with a monument. His only crime was being brilliantly intelligent and having a strong and authentic personality, which did not allow him to bow to the brutality of the powerful ecclesiastics of the time. These lived immersed in an abysmal ocean of wickedness, ignorance, and hypocrisy. Extreme perversity was the only way they expressed themselves against their fellow man, an innocent man, and unjustly killed him. In truth, they should have loved him, as taught by Christ. Giordano was a notable philosopher who influenced Niccolò Copernico, Galileo Galilei, Schopenhauer, among others. He defended the concept that true rationality should prevail over religious beliefs opposed to reason, inspiring the Enlightenment movement centuries later. He was a man ahead of his time, advocating the heliocentric theory and the existence of other worlds. That is, other exoplanets should exist orbiting stars like our sun, a reality abundantly proven by current science. He was a precursor of the book thought, unfortunately living in an era of dark and brutal intolerance. Naming one of the Citadel's towers after him is a fair way to honor an extraordinary genius who heroically sacrificed his own life for the scientific and spiritual evolution of humanity. 5. Tower Apostles of Christ. Christianity continued to grow after the crucifixion of the Savior at the hands of his terrible enemies. Christ's unconditional love for humanity, enduring martyrdom and forgiving his executioners, marks the beginning of a new era of spiritual evolution for humanity and the Christian era. From this crucial moment, the history of man began to be told before and after the Son of God. Fortunately, with Jesus physically absent, his disciples continued preaching the valuable teachings that were taught to them by the Divine Master. Each one, driven by immense courage and immeasurable faith, carried their own cross to the final moment, suffering an unjust death due to the misunderstanding and malice of the rulers of the time. Certainly their spirits ascended to the heavens, joyfully joining the beloved Master. There was only one exception. St. John died naturally at a very old age. The admirable spiritual richness of the apostles' lives, filled with countless struggles and sufferings, will be fondly remembered in the cultural space that will be reserved for them in their tower. With simple intention, it is humbly intended to honor them with love and eternal gratitude, always remembering their heroic sacrifices to plant in each of us the seed of Christ's love. This must flourish in our hearts, the only way for man to be worthy of the divine gifts graciously offered by our Creator. It depends only on us to live happily and in peace on our blessed mothership, planet Earth. 6. Icons of Brazilianness. In this tower, 30 Brazilians will be honored who, throughout the history of our homeland, participated with special merit or distinction in the formation of our nationality. Thus, governors, politicians, artists, athletes, writers, religious figures, intellectuals, and scientists will be praised for their simple personalities and for the richness of the valuable achievements they have contributed to our Brazilian identity. In the cultural space that will be reserved for them, their lives and careers will be described, as well as represented in beautiful murals. Then, we will see gathered notable figures like Ayrton Senna, Pelé, Mane Garrincha, Tom Jobim, Chico Xavier, Elis Regina, Oswaldo Cruz, Juscelino Kubitschek, Dom Pedro II, among others deserving of remembrance, in a rightful popular tribute. The 7. Tower Mother Lady of the Sky. It is the name of the tallest tower, with 1,350 meters in height. On top, the golden dome of the tower, the beautiful image of its three-dimensional acrylic sculpture, in an allegorical description, will hover blessing the marvelous city. At night, it will be fully illuminated, resplendent, in a touching enchantment that will touch the heart of anyone who gazes at it from above. Similar to the Christ the Redeemer, it will be a place of enormous popular attendance and intense faith. At the top of the tower, a beautiful and splendid church will be dedicated to it. Countless people coming from the most distant or faraway places, including followers of the most diverse beliefs or religions, will all be equally welcome. Then they will gather united in gratifying spiritual communion, for Christian love is universal, and the family of Christ encompasses all humanity. Not even 1,000 words would be enough to praise the choice of the revered saint, but because it is so obvious, just a few are sufficient. The Mother of Christ symbolizes the maternal love of all mothers in the world for their beloved children. Beyond this sublime feeling in its full and total character, she equally represents unconditional love of the Son of God for humanity. The thousands of devotees who love her attribute countless miracles to her. Christians see her as the Mother of God, so transcendental is the role she occupies in Christianity. Even the revered Prophet Muhammad reserves affectionate words and a relevant role for her in the Quran. In short, Our Lady of Heaven graciously conveys the infinite divine love to human beings, especially when they in distress offer their prayers or supplications to her. Let's talk a little about the primary reason that led the author of these lines to conceive the project of the Oscar Niemeyer Ecological Citadel. It is the largest ultra-modern housing development in the world today, both in the extensive size of the area occupied and in the remarkable heights of the 7 spectacular towers. 5 of them are 950 meters, 1 is 900 meters, and the Mater Tower is 1,400 meters. The tallest one, as we have seen, is devoted with devotion to Our Lady of the Sky. The Rocinha favela is located in front of San Conrado Beach, in one of the most noble areas of the city of Rio de Janeiro, called the Marvelous City for its stunning natural beauties. A happy composition of the most beautiful azure blue beaches, framed in the background by admirable rounded hills covered by the lush green Atlantic forest, forms a spectacular scene. There is even a lagoon, already mentioned, that insists on remaining beautiful, despite the pollution caused by humans. However, a shocking visual contrast arises when we compare the admirable tropical landscape that Mother Nature so generously offers us with the pathetic sight of the favelas located on the hills, a cultural heritage from the time of the emancipation of the slaves. The poetic lyrics of a beautiful popular song, Baracão de Zinco, by Elizabeth Cardozo and Jacob do Bandolim, describe to us, "Go shack, I hear your voice, I don't forget you for a minute, because I know you are a zinc shack, tradition of my country, shack of zinc, poor and unhappy." We also have another song, an international hit by Elivelto Martins, a true masterpiece, Ave Maria do Moro, whose lyrics tell us, shack of zinc, without a roof, without paint. Up on the hill, it's a bungalow. There is no skyscraper happiness there, because those who live on the hill already live close to the sky. And when the hill darkens, I offer a prayer to God. Ave Maria. It is a way to create poetry and find happiness, even in the unfortunate poverty of the favelas. An admirable way to find contentment in life despite the adversities of extreme poverty. During the carnival festivities, the humble people enthusiastically come down from the hills to sing and cleanse their souls, joyfully expressing in music, in the rhythm of dance, the sensual spectacle of the samba schools. It is a cultural phenomenon that has become an international attraction. In the case of the Rocinha favela, it is noted that many of the wooden houses with zinc roofs, praised in the poetic lyrics of songs, are now made of bricks, generally without plaster, that is, Ais, eusius, zimo, abiudzin polkoni eudzoritz. Precarious constructions that over time piled up, squeezing against each other, occupying all available spaces, and forming, by chance, a set that is not pleasant to the eye, whether by day or night. Such a bizarre phenomenon undermines the affectionate nickname of Marvelous City, spontaneously giving the city of São Sebastião do Rio de Janeiro, in the Middle East, in desert regions, without major natural attractions, sophisticated towers emerge that pierce the skies in a bold challenge. Beauty is created from nothing, as if by magic. Tourists head there, marveling and spending their dollars lavishly, increasing the wealth of the already very wealthy Arabs. The famous Dubai International Airport, in harmony with the mentioned towers, offers the public a bold architectural vision. As incredible as it may seem, here in Brazil, an inverse phenomenon occurs. We visually pollute our beautiful hills by destroying the Atlantic forest and filling the available spaces with precarious constructions, where residents do not even enjoy physical safety, as they live under the deadly danger of stray bullets in wars between traffickers. These, in the favelas, found a contradictory infernal paradise for exercising their illicit activities. An incalculable number of houses of all types, arranged randomly almost glued to each other, ended up forming a true labyrinth. It is the perfect habitat for outlaws to hide and stay safe from the reach of the police authorities. Many from the underprivileged population, living without other opportunities in this dangerous dog-eat-dog world, are seduced by the malicious criminals. These outlaws are even idolized by the naive. Faced with this turbulent and discouraging scenario, the author of these lines conceived the seemingly bizarre but rational idea of vacating the hills of Rio and constructing citadels composed of several towers, starting with the best located ones. The first would be on the famous Morro da Rocinha, next another in the Vidigal favela, and both would be connected by walkways. But how to remove the residents from the favelas? Shall we forcibly expel them from their homes, no matter how bad they are? Not at all. We can pay each owner, most of whom don't even have legal documents for the property, double the market value. This means, for example, that someone who has a house valued optimistically at 40,000 reais will receive 80,000. If it's worth 100,000, they get another 100,000, selling it for 200,000. A simple survey was conducted with hundreds of people, and all of them, without exception, would immediately sell their own property for double its value. The owner of a cell phone bought for 2,000 reais would sell it for 4,000 in the blink of an eye. If someone has a car worth 30,000, they would sell it right away for 60,000, obviously. After a thorough survey with the owners and the sale price agreed upon, the payment to everyone would be, as a precaution, made simultaneously on a single day, thus avoiding likely speculation. Then, memorize the question. Certainly very coherent. Where will the money come from to pay everyone? The cost of investment in the land, considering the extremely high value per square meter in the favela area, obviously already without the current residents, will result in a compensatory financial benefit. If the Oscar Niemeyer Ecological Citadel were built in Rocinha or Vidigal, it would bring rivers of money from abroad to the coffers of the city of Rio de Janeiro and offer thousands of jobs, precisely at a time when many are begging for work and cannot find anything. Unfortunately, considering that the financial operation above would require a period of 2 to 3 years, they chose to build immediately in the paradisiacal region of the lakes, in the vicinity of Cabo Frio, Arraial do Cabo, Búzios, or Rio das Ostras. The exact location will be chosen soon, as the architectural and structural project is already completed. Later, given the foreseeable success of the first citadel, we will still build others on the Rocinha and Vidigal hills. An advanced idea, but for the benefit of all Brazilians, will eventually succeed, sooner or later. There is no doubt about that. There is another important aspect to consider: the social problem. Many may be intrigued by the splendid magnificence of the Brazilian citadel, where many wealthy or billionaires will reside, and quite rightly ask, Where will the inhabitants of the favela live? Well, in the case of Rocinha or Vidigal, the owners will receive double the optimistic value of their properties, including a compensatory monthly allowance to pay their rent in other neighborhoods for 1 year. Besides this, they will have jobs secured on a priority basis to participate in the construction of the Citadel. It goes without saying that the environment will be excellent in terms of social and labor aspects. It will serve as an exemplary business model by harmonizing financial and social objectives, valuing the most daring housing project in Brazil and the world. Building the Citadel is just the beginning, not the end of a grand idea. Certainly a phenomenon similar to that of the new capital will occur. Brasilia was built according to the most modern and revolutionary urbanization and architectural parameters of the time. We were fortunate to have the geniuses of Lúcia Costa and Oscar Niemeyer. All right, however, no one foresaw the spontaneous emergence of the so-called satellite cities, intended for the housing of those who were not public servants, as they had the right to housing already guaranteed by law. Brasilia ended up being limited to just a pilot plan. In truth, the satellite cities are peripheral neighborhoods of common style, not even enjoying the admirable urbanization and architecture of the pilot plan, where the wide streets don't even have traffic lights, but creative roundabouts. In the case of our small city, others will follow, with lower heights and interconnected to the first. The costs will normally decrease, and cheaper apartments will be offered to the public over time. As we have already emphasized, the gravel is always taken from the construction site, and what is most abundant in the hills bordering the beaches of our coastline is the supply of sloped plots of pure granite, many of which are publicly owned. After the completion of each tower, many construction materials will remain applicable to the next one. The specific technology will also improve due to natural evolution. All these factors come together and contribute to the successive expansion of other magnificent towers, which will enrich an admirable, almost surreal landscape. Let's talk a little about two important items: the construction cost and the structural stability of the Citadel. As for the cost, it will be the minimum possible when compared to other top buildings in height, although successfully built in various parts of the world, particularly in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates, where we have the majestic Burj Khalifa Tower. It reaches 828 meters and is currently the tallest building in the world. In Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, they are constructing the Jeddah Tower, which is claimed to reach 1 kilometer in height. In the case of the towers built or to be built by the Arabs, the structural complex is very expensive because it consists of a complicated assembly of metal profiles with various specific dimensions, necessarily imported from first world countries with advanced technology. The Arab countries have an abundance of oil, but they do not have iron deposits or steel mills. In fact, the main engineers are also from abroad, as they are more capable for such a complex undertaking. In a fortunate contrast, we chose the reinforced concrete structure to enable the low-cost construction of the Brazilian Citadel. This becomes possible for two reasons. The first is that we have iron ore and several steel mills capable of supplying the necessary steel bars in various diameters to compose the structural concrete at a reasonable price. The second is that the gravel, which we know makes up 50% of the volume of the reinforced concrete structure, will be obtained at the construction site itself, taken from the foothills of the granite hills, this only on the lower part of their slopes. Simply, the crushed stone from the granite taken from the continuous foundations and the garages 4 levels below ground will be used. That is, practically at zero cost, because the excess can be easily sold. It is worth noting that the hill will have its vegetation restored and expanded in order to maximize its charming visual aspect and, moreover, representing the ecology of nature, such as the valuable flora and various species of animals existing there. Observe the great environmental advantage. There will be a full and complete restoration of the original Atlantic forest. The hills will be preserved and all the original vegetation will not only be replanted, but enriched with other valuable species, similar to what our wise Emperor Dom Pedro II did with the deforested forest of Alto da Boa Vista in his time. He brought beautiful species from Europe that grew there and led to the emergence of one of the most cherished leisure spots for the people of Rio. Our late emperor undoubtedly deserves the title of primordial ecologist before ecology itself. The shallow reinforced concrete foundation will be fixed directly onto the granite, that is, onto the hill itself, according to an ingenious and secure process developed by the author. It should be noted that, also, another important factor in the case at hand, reinforced concrete structures offer greater rigidity against strong winds at high altitudes than their metal counterparts, being certainly more suitable for combating oscillations due to possible typhoons or hurricanes, because we can shape it appropriately with moments of inertia directly opposing the demanding forces.
And regarding stability, aren't the towers too tall? Is there no danger of them toppling over because of the strong winds?
The answer to these reasonable questions is no, absolutely there is no danger of this happening. The reinforced concrete structure of the main tower is designed to connect with the structures of the smaller towers at various critical points, and these are also interconnected so that the 7 towers provide a joint Newtonian reaction to vertical forces as well as the fury of strong winds, including the continuous strip foundations that connect all the towers together, forming a single body. In the case of our Citadel, calculations considered a hurricane of 300 kilometers per hour, when the maximum winds recorded in Brazil do not even reach 150 kilometers. Everything will be executed within the highest safety standards, and even above those required by the country's technical standards. The towers have a cylindrical geometric shape because, in addition to minimizing wind actions, it allows for a layout with equal utilization of the usable area on all floors, combined with the full safety of being structurally interconnected, both in the continuous foundations and also by certain beam pillars located at the appropriate points. In summary, we have everything we need to make our ecological citadel a reality. We have several seaside sites with wonderful views, true gifts from the Creator, a skilled industry focused on civil construction, and appropriate technology in this sector. Our country will undoubtedly offer the greatest tourist destination on the planet. Let's draw a parallel between Brazil and the United States of America. The beginning of our colonization started with the first expedition led by Martim Afonso de Sousa. The first settlement, the village of São Vicente, emerged on the coast of the state of São Paulo in 1532.
The Oscar Niemeyer Ecological Citadel is a mega-structural project in reinforced concrete, which, after its inauguration, will be the only self-sustaining vertical city on the planet. Join our mega venture, investors, builders, construction material manufacturers, real estate agents, and all other interested parties. This way, we will become the pinnacle of modern engineering. Contact us. Sezioni is the company directly responsible for building the world's first ecological citadel, the Oscar Niemeyer Ecological Citadel. Email alexasolivehotmail.com. Phone 5592996179269.